The alchemical journey begins with primary matter, the materia prima. This was comprised of 4 elements: earth, water, wind and fire, terra, aqua, air and ignis. The 9th century alchemist Abul Qasim of Iraq writes, "Materia prima is to be found in a mountain which contains a measureless quantity of uncreated things." Matter, in alchemy, must have the spark that signals an incipient spirit. This invisible spirit is like the reflection in a mirror, intangible, yet at the same time, the root of all the substances necessary to the alchemical process. Materia is called a common thing, for as raw material, it is to be found everywhere. Yet at the same time, it is a very precious thing, because from it the elixir is obtained from which one can make gold. The painter James Elkins notes that one of the great puzzles for alchemists was how to begin the work. The materia prima is not only a metaphor for the desperate impoverishment and loneliness of the first moments before creation, but it is also a literal embodiment of them, imagined as a way station between utter chaos and perfection. The ground. Not from me, but from my mother comes the tale of how earth and sky were once one form. The ground is the soil or field out of which form emerges. The materia prima of the self is mirrored in the material ground upon which it is envisaged the great work, the magnum opus, will be carried forth. For the artist, the unworked ground is exemplified in the metal plate, the gessoed panel, or a wax tablet. This unworked ground, the outward reflection of the artist's self at the beginning of the work, is experienced as both daunting and compelling. For this ground is the athanol, the oven, the vessel in which the transmutation of the ores must take place. Progressive stages within the process are identified by the appearance of changes in colour in the vessel containing the ores: black, white, yellow and red. The first of the 4 colour stages is characterized as the nigredo or blackness. Then, undergoing a process of purification, the second stage within the transmutation is the albedo. Now, black lead is perceived as gradually transforming to silver, when the metal appears in the vessel as white. From the condition of silver or white, under the influence of the planet Venus, also called the morning star, the metal arrives at the 3rd stage, when the colour of the ores is transformed to yellow. This yellowing, the citrinitas, is a sign that the alchemist is drawing close to the last stage in the process. The contents of the alchemical flask finally reach a condition of metallic purity at the 4th and final stage, the rubedo, when a purplish red appears as the ores transmute into gold. Titus Burckhardt explains that the colours of the metals were seen by alchemists as a visible index of the changes wrought by the spirit or soul upon the metallic body. The nigredo. Thus ye shall go to putrefaction, and bring the serpent to reduction. First he shall be black as any crow, and down in his den shall lie full low. At the beginning of every project there is the sense both of losing one's way and of simultaneously being buried underground. The first alchemical stage, the nigredo or blackening, also referred to as chaos and putrefaction, is understood as a symbolical death. This phase is frequently represented in the emblems of the caput corvi, the raven's head, and the image of a human skeleton. A symbolical death was deemed necessary before the process of transmutation could occur. The Nigredo epitomizes a descent into Hades. In alchemy, death, or invisibility, the descent underground, evokes the period of hidden growth in nature, when seeds begin sprouting, taking root under the earth before they become exposed to light. Alchemists believed that metals, like plants and animals, evolved during a period in which they were understood to gestate. The peacock's tail. He shall show colours there many a one, and turn as white as will be the bone. With the water that he was in, wash him clean from his sin. The cauda pavonis, peacock's tail, is the name ascribed to the moment in the alchemical work when many colours appear. Towards the close of the prolonged initial phase, an iridescence is sometimes perceptible, heralding the imminent arrival of the second stage. Elkins writes, if a strip of polished copper is held above the surface of hydrogen sulfide, fumes will stain it into a darkened metallic rainbow of silver, purple, and black. The albedo. Divide thou Phoebus in many a part, with his beams that been so bright, and thus with nature him co-art, the which is mirror of all light. And let him drink a little and delight, and that shall make him fair and white, the which whiteness is ever abiding. The second alchemical stage, the albedo or whitening, shows the ores turning to silver, becoming like a mirror in the process. The reflecting moon and the mutable unicorn are emblematic of the mysterious potency of this phase, which encapsulates the idea of light emerging from within darkness. Medieval images referring to the albedo often feature women washing clothes and spreading out freshly laundered linens to dry in the sun. The washing, the baptism, leads to the whitening. The albedo indicates a state of clarity emerging in the work, an unclouded vision. The citrinitas. The yellowing of the third alchemical stage shows the mediating influence of the messenger god Mercurius between the Sun King and the Queen Moon, oppositional forces. Air is the element associated with this phase, while the animal is the white stag. In the citrinitas phase, the cardinal direction is east, the faculty intellect. The metal is copper. It is the virtue of their nature and of the part they play in the metalworker's craft that the two chemical substances called sulfur and quicksilver are taken as the symbols of the two basic generative forces. The masculine character of sulfur can be seen in its fieriness and also in the fact that it can fix and colour volatile quicksilver. Fire and water are united in the action upon metal of aqua fortis, corrosive acid. Burckhardt explains that after purification by fire and the dissolution of their bodies in the mercurial bath, the royal brother and sister, sun and moon, are united. This alchemical union figures as the red and white hermaphrodite, known as the rebis, interpreted as a vastly encouraging sign. The coming together in unison between pairs of opposites alchemists refer to as the conjunctio, the chemical wedding. The rubedo. Lo, here is the very full finishing of the white stone and the red. Lo, here is the true deed. The fourth stage, the rubedo, redness or purpling, known as the red lion, is the triumphant finale, indicating to the alchemist that the goal has been reached. The union between the red king and the white queen represents the achievement of the final goal, as the all-transmuting elixir, or the lapis philosophia. The volatile spirit has been fixed. Through the union of the alchemical opposites, sulfur and mercury, solidification of the volatile and volatilization of the solid is understood as salt.